Hey everybody, how's it going? Good to talk to you again. Now I'm actually finally in my typical spot as opposed to a car. And we're actually running toward the end of the semester, and most of you actually should have gotten back the feature assignment. As you know, the Megalomania assignment is due on Monday at the end of the day, the rewrite it. But most of you should got back the feature assignment. I gotta say that I was really pleased with what I saw. Really good work all around. I actually gave out a bunch of A's. So actually, this is what I really care about is the progress, people have, and that's actually going to be a big boost in your grade. I'm actually do a better explanation. I hope, of the how the grading will work. Let me just explain it a little bit better. And I'll first share the screen here. Okay. And okay, so one thing I should have said before was that, okay, so your overall grade, okay, is 70% written work, okay, 30% class participation, which is like doing things like the discussion points. I got to be honest with you, turning things on time. Take that into consideration because we have an asynchronous class, and what else can you do? But that's a sign of participation. You're actually watching the videos, which I can actually tell by looking at your work sometimes. I mean, it's quite obvious, especially, I mean, I have to admit, I did a little bit of a test when I did the Megalomania thing, and I wanted to see who actually watched that. Okay. But among the 70% written, okay, again, there's actually like a situation where you have, essentially the way it's going to break down is that, again, the fifth assignment will count twice as much as the previous assignments, each assignment, okay? And then the major will count 4 times, okay? So here's how that's going to break down. So this is out of that 70%, okay? So that means that out of that 70%, 10% of the 70% of 70 will be the first assignment, okay? That was the profile you did on each other, okay? 10% of the 70 will be the worksheets, okay? That's how it's going to break down. And then 10% of the 70, which is the facts react story, okay? And then 10% of the 70 will be the Megalomania. And then the fifth assignment, that will be 20% of the 70. Like I said, that'll count twice as much as the previous one. So that'll be the feature, okay? So 10, 20, 30, 40. 7, okay? 40. I'm sorry, 10, 20, 30, 40 plus 60 is 60. Don't even go into math. All right, so that's 60, right? Okay, that'll be the feature. And the last one counts 4 times of what these previous, the first 4 count of 70 will be the major assignments, okay? So that all equals out to 100. 60 plus 40 is 100, okay? 100% of the 70, okay? All right, so these last 2 really count something, okay? Feature and major assignments, okay? But some of you did so well, a bunch of you are not even going to be doing, like I said, like rewrites on this. Let me show you an example how or why that is so. So let's look at Max's story right here. Max Spivak. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Whoops. Going back. Fifth assignment, we have Max S. All right. Now again, with the feature assignment again, okay, so the rewrite for this will be due December 6th, okay? I'm trying to give you guys plenty of time because of the turkey day this week, haha. So anyway, still have essentially, hopefully I'll all get this back in time, but you're going to have like more than a week, maybe a week and a half or so to actually do these rewrites. Okay. This will be the week before what would be typically the last day of the semester. If it is the last day of the semester, December 13th, that's when the major assignment is due. So anyway, so basically what you do is you take you have essentially a story that basically is all about the nut graph. With the nut graph, I'm sorry, the nut graph is right here. But you can see that it actually starts with essentially with an anecdote, okay? Basically describing someone's expression, someone's impression, somebody's reaction to like what they see in front of them with some detail, okay? And it just works like an anecdote, okay? Just again, somebody's observation of what they see around them and the impact that has on them, okay? So James Gomez Solis, so I say it, Rutgers Business School sophomore, wore pants and a t-shirt to class. He was waiting for the bus at the stop and noticed that he was shivering from the freezing wind. Okay, again, not telling you everything you need to know, but giving you a little bit of a tease to kind of like bring it to the next point, okay? Just yesterday, you remembered it was 60 degrees and sunny outside. Now it's 30 degrees, okay? Showing that dichotomy of, oh my God, it's cold, it's hot, it's cold, it's hot. What's the deal here? So he pulled out his zip up and zipped it all the way up to the top, zipped all the way up. There's a comma here. Put his headphones on, and waited for the next bus to get to the stop. Gomez was shocked at how windy and cold it was. Okay. All right. Got in just one night and saw how most of the leaves were already on the ground falling from each tree. Okay. So basically that's what we have there. We have essentially an anecdote that basically kind of gives you a feeling of that kind of like jerking around we've been getting from the back and forth from the cold, from the weather that's going between cold and hot. Okay, it was a bright, crisp autumn day with the leaves rustling in the gusts of wind. Here's some of the little bit of description kind of sprinkled in. It's very colorful outside. This is actually a quote from him. Okay, is it missing first? But I can just feel the breezing air as it was the only thing showing on my body. But I can just feel the freezing air beating in my face. It's the only thing I'm saying. So he's feeling that kind of shock of the cold. The changing of seasons amid COVID. So some of you actually kind of like got a little bit confused with that. They either wrote too much of a story about COVID or too, when I was really just asking for a story first about the weather. And then basically, yeah, you could basically talk about how, here we are in this pandemic and that sort of thing. It's the changing of seasons amid COVID. COVID's the secondary part of that, okay? That's what Max did here. Changing of seasons amid COVID has people left with a mix of emotions. While some people see climate change as a way to people to experience more ill symptoms, others see it as a comfier and beautiful environment with the colorful leaves and blue skies. So you have basically people kind of struggling and people enjoying it. Okay. All right. And then we kind of return into the kind of what I talked about as a transition anecdote quote phase. Lauren Smith, a graduate student at Rutgers studying to become a physician, loves the changing of weather, but does not like the difficulties that comes with it. Okay, difficulties that come with it. Smith's days consist of coffee, studying, working out, and repeat. She personally loves going outside, enjoying the cold air. This is like the real reporting here. This is the anecdotal stuff I've talked about. Basically giving people some sort of like expression. Again, I think he's missing actually a first quote here. Sorry, I missed that too. Okay. All right. When it's really cold, most people remain indoors. And the quote just kind of helps illuminate that observation she has of her surroundings and that sort of thing that kind of illuminates the larger point about, doesn't like the difficulties, loves the changing weather, but doesn't like the difficulties. Okay. So that rewrite again will be on December 6th. Okay. Let's see. All right. All right. So that's the feature assignment. And again, that's actually the, other than the major assignment, that'll be the last assignment you'll have. Okay. Is rewriting that feature assignment. Okay. All right. So let's go to the major assignment. Actually, I want to kind of show that's going to basically follow a similar path, similar format to what you've done before. Okay. Shahil, I thought, had a good topic here. Again, the interesting thing about this is that these topics are actually very similar to what you've done before, essentially, okay? But the difference here is it's going to be longer. I'm going to ask you to dig deeper, or I should say dig longer. Just basically, we're going to actually do a longer story to help actually validate your points even more, essentially, okay? So basically, instead of interviewing maybe 3 to 5 people, now you're going to try to interview maybe like 6, 8 to 11, 8 or 11, okay? And basically try to come. Now I was looking for more expansive topics where you come up with more transitions, more points, instead of just like 3 points, maybe 6 points to help illuminate your larger topic. I thought this was a good one. This before, and this past week actually becomes even more relevant because now boosters are available to everybody. So the idea that many people are about to receive the COVID booster shot have made many people skeptical of the side effects of the extra vaccine. However, some say the booster shot is required, will help the population. Even though some people are not happy with this idea, basically, I said to her was like, let's just do a story about, reaction to the booster. Okay. This is interesting because look, I'm very pro-vax, as you know, and I don't want to to me, I don't know. I understand, and I want to empathize with people who maybe have like different feelings about it. My wife has actually had some issues with the vaccine only because she actually is one of the very small percentage of people who had a bad reaction to it. She's also has autoimmune deficiencies because of rheumatoid arthritis, and the vaccine actually apparently helped inflame her system. But this is actually, she's well within that, like less than 1% of people who have had those kinds of reactions. So I see like the overall situation with the vaccine. I don't really see it. I'm sorry, as like a really on both sides issue. I'm sorry, but I would see the booster as that, because it is interesting, like how much is enough, and she actually got tested, and she basically may have to opt with the situation without a booster, and just maybe rely on the fact that antivirals are actually like have now popped up and now are going to be more available, or maybe on the market and everything. So the idea that like getting a booster has become an issue now. Obviously they haven't required it, they haven't mandated or anything like that at places. So it is actually now, this is actually legitimately a question of choice. So I see this actually, some people are not going to do it because they feel like it's enough, too much. I've got double vaccinated already, I'm fine, that's enough. They didn't want to go put up with the crap that they've had to deal with, like with the reaction, especially with the Moderna vaccine, apparently. So, I see this as a legitimate issue that could be like both sides, okay? But maybe it's not going to be both sides. Maybe after Shahil interviews people, she's going to have people who are going to be like, all gung-ho about it, okay? All right, so basically, again, the idea here is you probably want to come up with an outline ahead of time. And I would really strongly suggest, again, really strongly suggest you send me a rough draft ahead of time because there's no rewrite on this. All right, but maybe ahead of time, you really try to, especially since it's longer, it get a little unwieldy. And the other stories that maybe an outline wasn't totally necessary, but with this one, it's probably necessary. And the idea here is that you probably want to kind of, again, it's not going to necessarily pan out exactly the way you might actually expect it to unfold, but you can almost like kind of guess ahead of time. And once you do your interviews, it may change. But you want to maybe like try to provide an outline what you think how people may think. You don't want to put words in people's mouths, but you want to kind of get an idea like how people might actually go with this. Okay, maybe it's just from your own institutional knowledge, from talking to people already, that sort of thing. It helps to actually really cover a beat that's actually on your home turf, like Rutgers. So she actually is basically expanding out here, so it's the way it looks. So it's not just Rutgers, but just kind of talking to people, she probably has an idea how this is going to go already. Okay, so maybe, like I said, maybe like trying to think of, instead of like 3 points, you try to think of 6 points, how people might react to this. Okay, so the first thoughts I would think, and I got my booster shot, actually I got it a month ago. Actually, probably way ahead of time. I don't actually have any, I probably shouldn't have done that but I didn't have to wait in line for it. I just got it anyway, whatever. Anyway, so first thing I would probably think of, obviously, is that people probably would want the extra protection. Okay. They feel like, that it's kind of up in the air. We've seen what's happened with the Delta variant, that the double, immunization doesn't actually protect you in complete 100% from COVID. So maybe this will come to even closer to doing, okay? So extra protection, you see, you think of like why, you think of who, what, where, how, why, when here, okay? Extra protection, and then another point you can make about getting the COVID vaccination is that once you get the extra protection, it's gonna be the second point you made. This will allow you to do more things. You feel more confident to do more things. And that's how I feel, to tell you the truth. I actually went to a 5-mile run on Monday morning or Saturday morning. Yes, I'm taping this on Sunday. And I gotta tell you, I felt like, I've been actually kind of feeling weird about being in front of people without a mask. And then but on Saturday, I actually felt good. And God, I couldn't believe how many people were there. I'd never seen that many people at this run before. It was a Manasquan. They used to call it the Manasquan Turkey Trot. Now they call it the Manasquan Turkey Run. I've been doing it since 1988, almost every year. So I was actually shocked how many people were not wearing a mask or anything. But I feel like personally, we're at a point where we can move beyond this. And I was actually totally fine with it. And also, I got my booster, so I felt more confident I can do these types of things. So that's like another thing to think about, another point to be made here, okay? And, like I said, you don't want to necessarily put words in people's mouths. You want to actually just, go up to people and ask them these questions: who, what, where, how, why, when they feel about the boosters. But, but you can, like I said, you can almost kind of anticipate and kind of expect, and maybe just by having an outline ahead of time, you'd know what to ask. Okay. You can even like do some background checking to see if other people feel the same way, or maybe like see if they might have similar reactions in other stories that have been written about this. Okay. Another thing is also I've heard from people is that this goes back to the why is, get it out of the way because we're heading in that direction anyway, so, get it out of the way, get it done now, because, whatever reaction you might get it done, get it over with, okay? You also feel like you want to protect others, okay? So that's actually the big reason why I got it, because of my wife, she probably might not be able to get the booster. So I felt like it was important for me to be extra protected, So obviously this is actually a big reason why people are getting the vaccine in general, right? So, and like I said, you might actually get like some sort of a mixed opinion here. So you let's look at the point of view of my wife. The reaction people get, was bad. So maybe that's the reason they might not get it, So that could be like another point that people might make. That's the one thing I've heard from people about why they might not get it, because they feel like, I've already been through this, been hell, the whole thing. Some people have said they felt the reaction even later on. So, for a while, and they just don't have to put up with that again. And they feel like they've had enough. I mean, it could be, your 6th point could be just basically that I've done enough. I've had enough. I'm moving on, that sort of thing. I'm going to rely on antivirals. I know it's a little bit of a anti-vax position, but I guess with the booster, like I said, I think it might be a little bit more of a legitimate situation. So anyway, that's just like one way you can really kind of like tackle this story, is like you could just kind of almost anticipate how people might go. But like I said, you might just go in there and it might not just be like exactly this, but this will give you at least some advanced warning. You can ask questions, and you can even do a little bit of research. And then like the types of things like this, you could basically like say to people like, because they might ask you questions like, what do you mean antivirals? Was antivirals available? So now you've done some outlining ahead of time. You can actually do a little bit of research. And I think Pfizer and Merck were the ones that actually have antivirals that are supposed to be on the market. Okay. You can look at like maybe see what kinds of reaction people have, and maybe if they feel like they can't like describe it or whatever, you can kind of like ask them questions about it, find out how other people have reacted, and that sort of thing. You can look at like do things like look at research of people in general, how they feel about boosters and that sort of thing. About, you could talk about the immunity protection, that extra immunity protection that perhaps that gives you, and that will give you again more an educated way of actually like asking these questions and basically following up with these questions and that sort of thing. Okay, help engage and keep the conversation going. Okay, all right. Another thing actually, like I also thought of, you're going to interview people, is like also like going to the age thing there. Obviously age plays a role. Okay. could be a reason why they get it, because they feel like, the immunocompromised, because it's easier to get the virus if you're in an immunocompromised situation. Okay. All right. And then basically you want to think about like a lead, what I presented here basically is probably something along the lines of like, maybe you're talking about New Jersey residents have mixed reactions. And I'm really think we should actually go with like a straight hard news lead here. Okay. About the booster. Okay. And then you can almost think of like transitions going through here, blah, blah, blah. This also could be the outline you make after you do your reporting. Let's say like, hypothetically speaking, these are the reactions you get from people. So you can basically, plan it out this way. And then like, this is a transition, 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 transition. And then basically you back things up with an anecdote here, anecdote here. If you're interviewing me, I could tell you my anecdote would be the Manasquan Turkey Fund. About how much better I felt about being there. Okay. That sort of thing. Okay. It's a personal experience, personal observation. It kind of helps eliminate the larger points. Okay. All right. So that's that. All right. So I didn't have a lot to talk about, anything new or anything like that, but I did want to talk more about that. And of course you have the megalomania rewrite that's due. I mean, I've kind of talked about that now ad nauseum. So, and of course, last week I showed you the real Marv Bronson in real life. And that's about it. So let me know if you need anything else, and email me or whatever you want to do. We only have a couple weeks left here. We actually have 3. So I may not be actually giving you a new lecture every week, but we'll see. Okay. All right. Thanks very much. And I will be talking to you.